So if I had to name our final session, it would be called I Am a Wealth Builder. So session 5 is the finale, where they actually become investors, where we provide them with $300 individually to make an investment in the accounts they just opened. And this is the first time I've ever done this. So in the past, we have given our students money, which has been great, but we've never given adults money. And so in partnership with United Way and BMEC, we have the opportunity now to not only take these men from not knowing how to invest to actually making an investment together. And so it was interesting because they knew this day was coming, and they had the top 3 stocks that they wanted to invest in, and they had to choose one. And they weren't sure, and they felt like under pressure, and they were like nervous. And it was just interesting because they did the research, they were confident, but they wanted to do it right. And so some of the guys were still unsure. And so I said, right now, if you were to come in the front of this class and we were to go toe to toe as to why your company is worth investing in, would you be good at doing it? And then they all got scared. But I think it's because I just put pressure on them. But some of the guys were like, well, I'm still not sure. And it just was like, this is the opportunity of, to do something that you always have wanted to do, that you haven't gotten the opportunity to learn about. And now you get to do it. And it's like, because it's so new, they want to do it right. They don't want to make a mistake. They're a little confused. They never process a transaction. So it was cool seeing all the different emotions, but I noticed that those same emotions were in every single one of the men that we were working with. And so, for example, one of the guys was like, yeah, so I heard that Burger King was going to have like plant-based burgers now. And I'm just like, okay. He's like, yeah, so I think I want to buy Burger King. And I'm like, wait. Like, you can't, just because you heard something or you tried something, you don't even know if Burger King is profitable. Like, so you can't, so it was cool that happened because it allowed me to take a step back before we initiated any transaction. It was like, I need you to understand the journey that you are starting. This isn't something that you're just doing now. This is something you are doing every single month, and you have the tools to do the research. So interestingly enough, the stock market that day dropped, like the Dow dropped like 800 points. And so as soon as I walked in, it was like, okay, let's talk about what's going on in the market, because they are now saying we are headed for a recession. This is the time for you to learn. This is the time for you to start investing, to open your eyes, to pay attention to the news. But you just decided to pick an investment off of emotion, which is what the stock market is doing right now. They're operating off of emotion. You cannot do that. This is why we had those goals, we had those destinations. Where are you going and why are you doing this? Because just because Burger King has plant-based burgers, like, you don't even know if Burger King is profitable. Did you do the research on Burger King, or you just heard something that sounded good that makes you feel like it's a good investment? That is not how you function when it comes to building wealth, right? And so in particular, it was like, I need you guys to regroup and think about why you're doing this, the longevity in what you're doing, and not just make a decision because you feel like you have to do it right now, but because you're confident in the direction that you're going. And so I just thought it was interesting but the cool thing about it is they had all these ideas, and these are the same guys from session 1 who were quiet, who kind of pushed me away, who didn't think they could do it, came up with all the reasons why they couldn't invest, to now having all these ideas as to why they can, and then they're seeing the stock price. And then some of them were like, no, I want a long-term stock because I want dividends. And so everyone had their own focus and core reason for the companies they chose, but it was really dope to see them talking about it amongst one another. And so essentially I went around to each of them and in the accounts that they all had, and gave them access to the money so they can utilize it to make their first investment. And so it was really cool because the guys were buying Apple, Amazon, Nike, Pepsi, all these companies that we talked about, that we did research on, except now they actually can invest and do it. And we chose an account that allowed them to buy fractional shares. So even if they had $5, they're able to invest in the company with just $5. And so for me, it meant a lot because I remember them when they weren't ready. I remember reading their pre-survey talking about their knowledge around the stock market was a 1 or a 2, to now being able to say, hey, I processed my first transaction. And at the end of the day, we had a group of Black men who invested collectively over $4,000. And that's not something that you see every day. That's not something that we're talking about amongst our friends when we're at a barbecue or we're on vacation. We don't talk about that. But with the situation at that present moment, I needed them to recognize what they just did and why they just did it and how profound it was to have a group of Black men in education focusing on building wealth and what happens from there and how they can grow from there and what they can do with their children and what they can do with their students. So it was a really great experience for me, kind of emotional. But it was just really dope because they chose what they wanted to invest in. And we gave them the tools, the resources to give them the foundation to build something phenomenal.